My name is Kim. I'm standing at the back of a crowded church basement, watching as a woman with my face reads a eulogy at my own memorial service. It's been 10 years since I was declared dead, and the room is filled with people who believe I'm gone. The woman at the podium, Emily, is speaking about me as if she knew me well, sharing memories that never happened. My father, Richard, stands near the front, his hand nervously drifting to his pocket. Little do they know, I'm not crashing this service. I was invited by my grandmother's attorney, and in a matter of minutes, their perfect facade is about to crumble. I remember the day I left home. I was 18, and my mother had recently passed away. My father had remarried, and his new wife, Linda, and her daughter, Emily, moved into our house. It felt like I was being replaced, and I couldn't bear to stay. So, I packed my things and drove to Phoenix, Arizona, to start a new life. I thought I'd left my old life behind, but I had no idea that my father was about to erase me completely. A few months after I moved, I started sending letters to my family, hoping to reconnect. But every letter came back, ripped open and stamped return to sender in my father's handwriting. I tried to call, but no one answered. It was as if I didn't exist anymore. I was heartbroken, but I refused to give up. I kept sending letters, hoping that one day, someone would respond. Fast forward to 3 months ago. I received a call from an attorney named Sarah. She told me that my grandmother, Helen, had passed away and that she was the executor of her estate. She also told me that she'd been looking for me for a while and that she had some documents she needed to give me. I was skeptical at first, but I agreed to meet her. When I met Sarah, she showed me a death certificate with my name on it. I was shocked. I had no idea that I'd been declared dead. She also showed me a police report and an insurance payout receipt. It all became clear. My father had faked my death to collect the insurance money and give my inheritance to Emily. Sarah told me that my grandmother's will specified that her estate should go to her biological granddaughter, which was me. She also said that she'd found evidence that the death certificate was fake and that my father had paid a witness to lie about the accident. She was going to expose the truth at my memorial service. So, here I am, standing in the back of the church, watching as my father and stepmother pretend to grieve. Emily continues to read the eulogy, sharing stories that are nothing but lies. I want to stand up and shout, to tell them that I'm alive, but I hold my tongue. I know that Sarah is about to expose the truth, and I want to see their faces when they realize that they've been caught. Finally, Sarah steps forward. She introduces herself and explains that she's the executor of my grandmother's estate. She then pulls out a copy of the will and shows it to the crowd. She explains that the estate should go to me, not Emily. My father's face turns white, and he tries to interrupt, but Sarah won't let him. She then pulls out the death certificate and the police report, and she explains that they're fake. She also shows the insurance payout receipt and the affidavit from the witness who admitted that he was paid to lie. The crowd gasps in shock, and my father's face turns red with anger. Emily looks confused and betrayed. She turns to my father and asks him if it's true. He doesn't answer. He just stands there, looking at the ground. Linda tries to defend him, but no one is listening. I step forward and stand next to Sarah. I look at my father and say, "You thought you could get away with it, but you were wrong. I'm alive, and I'm not going to let you get away with this." My father looks at me, his eyes filled with hatred. He says, "You're just a selfish girl. You left us, and you never looked back." I shake my head and say, "I left because I felt like I didn't belong. You replaced me with Emily, and you didn't even care. You faked my death for the money, and you used Emily to cover it up." My father doesn't say anything. He just stands there, defeated. Sarah then tells him that he's going to be sued for insurance fraud and that he's likely going to lose his house and his reputation. Emily looks at me, tears in her eyes. She says, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know. They told me that you were dead, and I believed them." I look at her and say, "I know. You were just a pawn in their game. But you're not alone. We're both victims of their lies. Emily nods, and we hug each other. It's a bittersweet moment. We've both been through so much, but we're finally starting to heal. After the service, I talk to Sarah about the estate. She tells me that I'm entitled to the entire inheritance, which is worth approximately $890,000. I'm shocked. I never thought I'd have that much money. I decide to give Emily $200,000 as compensation for what she's been through. She's grateful, and she promises to use the money to start a new life. I also decide to pay off my student loans and buy a small house in Columbus. I want to start fresh, to build a new life for myself. Over the next few months, I settle into my new life. I start therapy to deal with the trauma of what I've been through. I also plant a garden in my backyard and adopt a cat named Helen, after my grandmother. My father calls me a few times, but I never answer. I don't want to hear his excuses. He never apologized for what he did, and he never admitted that he was wrong. Emily and I stay in touch. We meet for coffee every once in a while, and we're slowly becoming friends. She's still trying to figure out who she is, but she's making progress. One day, I decide to visit my childhood home. I drive by the house, and I see that it's been painted blue. There are toys in the yard, and a family is playing on the porch. It looks like they're happy. I'm glad that the house is being used for something good. I also visit Oakwood Cemetery, where my headstone is located. I stand in front of it for a long time, thinking about the girl I used to be. I pull out my phone and call a monument company. I ask them to add a new engraving to the headstone, survived by herself. It's a small thing, but it means a lot to me. It's a reminder that I'm not defined by what happened to me. I'm a survivor, and I'm going to keep moving forward. If you've ever been erased by someone you loved, if you've ever had to prove your existence, then you know how it feels. But you're not alone. There are others out there who have been through the same thing, and we're all here to support each other. So, if this story resonates with you, please share it. Leave a comment and tell me your story. Let's show the world that we're not going to be silenced. We're going to fight for our right to exist, and we're going to refuse to stay buried.